Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. In our today's video, we'll deal with central government's flagship skilling initiative known as Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Now the notes which I will be using in our today's session, in case if you want to download them, you can go to a particular Telegram channel called as ATS Live. And while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel also. So let us start by understanding the reason why we have picked up this topic for our today's discussion. Now, the central government's flagship skilling initiative, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which is in its fourth iteration, the 4.0 version, it recently has faced certain serious operational setbacks. For example, a few months ago, in October 2025, the ministry is responsible for this scheme, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. It blacklisted 178 training partners and centers because they were falsifying attendance records. They were also showing irregularities when the inspection was done by the ministry and its officials. Now, although these blacklisted centers are very minuscule in amount, 178 out of nearly 13,000 centers, but it shows that this scheme faces certain deeper structural concerns. So what are these deeper structural concerns? To understand this, first of all, we need to know about the skilling infrastructure that has been laid down by the government in the past 10 to 11 years. This all started in 2015 with Skill India Mission. With Skill India Mission, the objective of the government was to reskill and upskill the Indian workforce in order to provide them industry relevant. Similarly, this will be done through network or nationwide network centers or training centers, which will be public, private, as well as done through or established through collaboration. What you need to understand, in February 2025, the government restructured this entire Skill India Mission and it merged all of these flagship initiatives that are under it by making them a central sector scheme. Where it was a central sector scheme, you need to understand the 100% financial contributions for this scheme will be made by the central government only. Now what you need to understand, under Skill India Mission comes three different schemes. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which we'll cover eventually in our today's video only, and comes Prime Minister National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, NAPS, and the Jan Shikshan Sansthan Scheme, JSS. So first let us understand few details about these two initiatives and then we'll cover PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana in great detail. What is this NAPS scheme? NAPS scheme is basically a vocational training initiative for non-literates, new literates and school dropouts between 15 to 45 years of age, and this scheme focuses especially on marginalized section of the society. It includes women, it focuses more on SCs, STs, OBCs, and it also has a focus on minorities. And more than 26 lakh people have been trained under this skill initiative in the past 6-7 years. Now comes NAPS, that is the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme. In National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, it provides apprenticeship to youths, providing them with basic and on-job training, and the government itself subsidizes the stipends that they eventually get from the industry partners. In this initiative, about 43.747 lakh apprenticeship have been engaged in the past few years. So these are the subsidiary schemes under Skill India Mission, that is the Jan Shikshan Sansthan and the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme. Now let us come back to the focus, that is the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY. Now this was launched in 2015 by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Please remember, the government, after coming into power in 2014, established a specific ministry whose purpose was to ensure skilling of workforce in India. This was MSD. And the implementing authority of this scheme is National Skill Development Corporation, or PSU, which comes under this ministry. Now the objective of this skill or this scheme is to provide skill training to the individuals. What kind of skills, if you may ask? These not just include the relevant industries skills that you require, but it also includes soft skill, entrepreneurship development, it includes financial and digital literacy, which are provided to the trainees. In addition to that, it also wants to increase the employability of the person and reduce the shortage of skilled manpower. Now in 2015, when this scheme was started, you'll be surprised to know that only 5% of our total workforce were formally skilled and rest 10% were skilled but through informal sources. So even if you add them together, the total amount of skilled workforce in 2015 was just 15%, which was alarming, especially when our country wants to become developed. When a country wants to become developed, it requires establishment of manufacturing units, and in manufacturing units, you require skilled labor. So even though we had a huge amount of population, we had huge amount of workforce, but only 15% of those workforce were formally skilled or informally skilled. So this posed a very big problem which this scheme wants to solve. Now the target beneficiary of this scheme is unemployed youth and school college dropouts. So please remember, this is a very important point that you have to remember for your exam. Now let us come about the various initiatives that have been included in the scheme. As you can understand, the training to the youth are provided under three separate categories. One is a short-term training which is provided through National Skill Qualification Framework. I can understand if you look at the video, the text given here would be quite small, but download the notes for your later consumption, because when you download the notes, each and every text would be perfectly legible for you guys. So the first initiative under this is short-term training, where the skill is provided under the National Skills Qualification Framework, and it is provided to students who are looking to give skill, reskill and upskill, and these are mostly provided to out-of-school people who are educated but are unemployed. Similarly, there is also a recognition of prior learning initiative. In recognition of prior learning initiative, if you are acquainted with any kind of skill but you're not having the certificate to show it to any prospective employer, you're going to get that under this initiative. What happens that you go through a training program where they'll judge your existing skill. If necessary, they'll also give you further training to upskill your qualities, and necessarily the certificate will be provided to you which you can show to any prospective employer, and it will help you get a job. Similarly, the special focus of this scheme was on special projects which will be provided to marginalized and vulnerable groups, like I told you, women, minorities, SCs, STs and OBCs, right? And the qualification criteria for people who are eligible under the scheme are different. Please remember them. I have provided you the notes in which you'll find it. Now, the special attention of this skill is inclusive. By inclusion, this government means that special attention will be given to aspirational, backward, border regions, tribal and left-wing extremism plagued regions, and also the special focus will be on different marginalized sections who have the skill but are not able to give a certificate regarding that, or even if they don't have the skill, they will be trained under the various initiatives or the various educational institutions by government support, be it private or public, right? So this is the entire gamut of initiatives that are provided under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Now let us talk about the progress this skill has made over the past few years. You need to understand, last year in 2025, the skill or this scheme, completed 10 years. So that is why it becomes relevant for your exam perspective. Now more than 1.63 crore candidates have been trained under this initiative, and it ranges in skill development across multiple industries, be it construction, be it manufacturing sector, be it electronics, assembly, be it services sector like healthcare, IT as well as retail. Similarly, there are many sub-initiatives that have been planned under the scheme that focuses on a special category of aspirants. For example, a PUNK initiative is to expand skilling across marginalized groups. For example, youth, tribal youth from Northeast, jail inmates, women, etc. They have been provided skill training. Also, traditional crafts and the upskilling of traditional craftsmen have been done. For example, the Namda artisans and weavers in the state of J&K, similar weavers in the state of Nagaland, they have been targeted through what is known as recognition of prior learning and the upskilling through this training. Also, mainstreaming of skills is very necessary, where government has integrated the people who have been skilled through these initiatives and provided them employment in its missions like PM Surya Ghar Yojana as well as the Vibrant Villages program. So what the government is trying to do, it is trying to upskill your status, and naturally it is also looking to provide you industry relevant employment, be it in government or be it in private sector. Similarly, upskilling is very necessary, and through that the Skill Hub initiative, which has used schools and colleges as vocational training hubs, this was one of the programs of the government under the National Education Policy. Also, making the aspirants relevant for digital training is also very essential, and for that Skill India Digital Hub for digital tracking and Aadhaar based verification has been done, so no duplication of efforts is in short. Also, academic mobility, where your qualification which you have got under the PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana would be linked through academic bank of credits, and you can actually transfer your learning from one institution to another based on your convenience. So this kind of interoperability and mobility is provided under the scheme. Now, let us talk about the shortcomings and the challenges the scheme has faced in recent times. And this all have been highlighted by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India in its audits which it has done for this scheme. Now, the first challenge that the scheme meets is corruption and misuse of funds. Now, several training partners, they inflated their bills, they manipulated the records in order to divert funds for their personal use. And upon finding many training centers, it was surprising that many training centers, they were existent only on the paper. They were showing training activities for students who have not enrolled them in reality, but they have shown their attendance records in their ledgers. Similarly, when government stamped down on these training centers by suspending the licenses and blacklisting as many as 178 training partners and training centers, it led to training disruption mostly in the northern states like UP, Delhi, MP and Rajasthan. Now, this has affected training in several areas which it has made standstill. Another problem that this skill face is poor monitoring. I told you, the implementing agency is an PSU, that is National Skill Development Corporation. Now, this has been inconsistent. The oversight of the scheme by the NSDC has been inconsistent, and to an extent, or talk about their audacity, they have also refused to disclose details of defaulting center under the RTI Act. Now, what you need to understand, in many cases, the training partners and training centers, their identities did not mismatch. Similarly, the state agencies who were under the collaboration with the central government, they lacked clarity when it came to inspection, when it came to documentation, and they were slow in taking corrective action. So, operation problems in any scheme is not at all surprising. What is surprising is lack of effort in order to rectify those problems. Similarly, the scheme also faced with another set of problems that is called as industry skill mismatch. Now, you're skilled for a particular job, but when you're not going to get a job based on the existing skills, what's the point of any skilling mission, right? And this happened with the Skill India mission. Now, training programs, they have often failed to align with the current industry standards, because as we are getting developed, the current industry standards also gets evolved. So, you need to have a training capacity where the demands of current industry needs to be taught in the academic and as training centers. Now, this can happen due to many reasons. First is the weak collaboration by training institutions and employers, insufficient labor market forecasting, which is very essential in these evolving times, and inadequate practical exposure for trainees. So, even though on paper, on skill, the candidate is skill developed, but when it comes to actual work, using your hands, the people who have gotten their skill degree, they might not be able to do so. Also, the infrastructure and accessibility of these skill centers are problems, especially the ones which are located in semi-urban and rural areas. Now, what the government has found, and the CAG in its audit has found, that the infrastructure facilities in these skill centers are inadequate. There is limited access to digital tools, and when it comes to internet connectivity, that might be poor. So, all of this, it affects your learning. It all automatically affects the outcomes of the scheme. So, even though you might show on paper that so many people have gotten skilled, but when it comes to the level of quality of their skill learning, that remains to be seen. So, these are the problems that this Skill India mission, especially the PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, is facing. Now, before solving a question that exactly came on this scheme in 2018, there is a very important announcement. Right now, we are taking admissions in GS Foundation courses. The skill that I talked to you about, the scheme that I talked to you about, is an essential part of economy as well as GS2 governance, because analyzing any scheme, identifying its shortcoming is an essential part of GS Paper 2 syllabus. Now, these kind of interlinkages is very essential if you have to prepare for UPSC exam. And these kind of interlinkages we teach our students in the resolution batches. Resolution batches are available in multiple languages, in Hindi, in bilingual, as well as in exclusive English format. You can take one of these batches. These batches are offered separately for students who are looking to give exams in 27 and 28. But before making the payment to the scheme or to any of the courses that we are offering, please remember one thing. Right now, we are offering a limited time period offer of 50%. And to get more discounts on top of that, you can use the code ATS Live. If you use this code ATS Live, you're going to get maximum discounts on not just the P2F foundation courses, but all the courses of StudyIQ, including the optional subjects. Right now, this is the question that appeared in 2018 with reference to PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which we covered just now. Solve the following statements. Do let me know the correct answers in the comment section. The ones who will answer it correctly would get a thumbs up from my side. And if you want to download the notes, this is where you will find it. The channel's name is called as ATS Live. So this is all from my side for today. Please have a very good day, and we'll see each other again tomorrow.